Hello and welcome to Video Game Movement Study. It's been a while, hasn't it? First, we're gonna go over the main character's fundamental movement. She has basic 8-way analog functionality just like in any other 3D platformer. Her base movement speed is absolutely abysmal. She does not move fast by any normal means. But don't take this little devil lightly. She has plenty of mechanics to help her move faster throughout the game. She possesses a pretty solid single jump. Her single jump is a relatively good height for what it needs to be. Just take a look here at how high the jump will be. You can gauge how well it is based off of that. So she also possesses a Super Mario style triple jump. Her triple jumps have a very lenient buffer system to it. It's made apparent that your main source of vertical mobility will be your triple jump. And just like any other 3D platformer, she possesses a double jump. And that will wrap up the basic 3D platformer fundamental movement. But of course, this wouldn't be a unique game without her own unique jumps and abilities. Let's take a look at those. So something super interesting about her dash. When she starts her running animation, she does a little sprint beforehand. I've never seen anyone use something like this through my days of playing 3D platformers, but it's an interesting change for sure. Another thing that this character possesses is a side flip, similar to the one in Super Mario 64. To initiate this side flip, you would want to sprint first, and then flick your controller back and then jump. And just like that, you now can side flip. Simple, isn't it? Up next, we have her wall jump. It's a very simple yet fundamental mechanic that all 3D platformers should have. All you do is run up to the wall and jump off of it. It's as simple as that. We're going to talk about her aerial mobility. All 3D platformers should have some form of movement within the air. Luckily enough, this character has a little hover. This hover lasts for about 2.5 seconds in the air before it starts falling. And when used on the ground, it can give you that same little speed boost that the sprint does. This hover can also be used in succession with her jumps. When you hover jump, you get a boost of speed that will push you forward. But once you use this jump, you can't do anything else until you touch the ground. Go ahead and take a look at her bounce around. Her glide jump also has a very interesting mechanic tied to it. So if you hold the jump button while using the hover jump, instead of landing and going into a running animation, she will bounce on the ground so that you can keep your momentum. Now with all her basic fundamental movement talked about, let's take a look at an example of it being used. Next, let's talk about her combat. She can throw out these little punches that can knock back the enemies into spikes and other miscellaneous things on the map. The little punches can also be charged up. Look at her move, it's a very smooth movement, but it's slower than your normal running speed. After you release the punch, it just throws out a very large hand that pushes the enemy back. This can also be used in the air so that it gets a diagonal angle for you. That's really all she has for her combat. She's not much of a physical fighter. Next, you have her turf royal. This will show you situational items that will help you traverse different levels. The first one we're going to talk about is the hook shot. The hook shot is basically a grappling hook, but it doesn't contain the swinging motion that most grappling hooks would have. Instead, it just pulls you directly to the point and you get aerial momentum right after you shoot off. Something very important to note is that when you transform using your double jump or your spin, you cannot use the hook shot. This is something that becomes very dangerous when you don't take time to remember how it works. Now with that explained, let's take a look at an example of it being used. The next turf ability on her list is the Wheel. It's the little Ouroboros looking snake on the side. This turf ability allows you to hit insane speeds and momentum while using it. While rolling, it takes a little bit of time to rack up momentum, but once you reach max speed, you can hit some of the fastest momentum in the game. And just like some of her other abilities, it can be cancelled while hovering in the air. Take note though, once you use the wheel in the air, you'll drop down immediately to the ground and you cannot move or input anything until it touches the ground. Just take a look at how much momentum you get when you jump with this ability. And with that, let's take a look at an example of it being used. Up next, we have the Crow Turf ability. This glide works pretty differently compared to other glides that I've seen in 3D platformers. Once you use the glide, you initially start gliding in the air, but once you go down, you cannot go back up. It's a very simple mechanic at heart, and it has a couple of extra little tricks that I'm going to show you here. When you use the glide on the ground, it gives you a dash instead. This dash then gives you a little tornado that appears on the ground. Once you jump in it, it throws you vertically up in the air.
This looks like a good spot.
The glide has a lot of combo-like uses. In this next part, I'll show you one for example. And now for the last turf ability we're going to go over. This turf ability doesn't have any real uses for movement, but it helps with moving around during combat. So when you use the ability, it charges a pink ball and you shoot it in any direction that you want. All this does is slow down time within the circle. It slows down the main character, it slows down enemies, and even moving platforms. And that's really all there is to it. That's about everything she can do. Join me as we take a look and analyze one of the speedruns posted not too long ago. This section of the video, I'm gonna let you watch the video first, and then we'll start talking and dissecting things afterwards. Enjoy! Alright, let's start going in and breaking things down here, shall we? This level is immediately started off with all of the boosting techniques I showed you guys earlier. For this next part, let's slow it down a little bit. There's a lot to dissect here. The movement is started off with a side flip to a hover jump, and then directly into another side flip, hover stall into hover jump to grab the cake and slide back down. The use of verticality here shows a high mastery of being able to use the main character's abilities properly. Oftentimes you stick to the wall with a wall jump, and being able to not have that happen takes a lot of extra work. And just like that, they go in to finish the level. If you are interested about this speedrun, be sure to look up the runner. They have plenty more videos where that came from. I would like to thank you for watching me nerd out about Demon Turf for the time being. With a game with smooth movement like this, I couldn't help myself but to make a video about it. But to end things off, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And if you're looking for more content like this, be sure to click the bell icon so that you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. And if you're one of the people that like to use TikTok, go ahead and follow my TikTok page under the same name, Video Game Movement Study. Other than the YouTube video, I'll be talking about single specific movement mechanics inside of video games. I won't be going super in-depth about them, but just the small things that matter. And remember, always try to have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Stick a fork in it, your team's cooked.